Welcome to a session of Female Disruptors Virtual Summit. This is F is for Feminism track, and I am so excited to be talking Femtech with Kemi Olawoye. Hi, Kemi, how are you?
Hi, Lisa. I'm well, thank you. Great to be here and well done on the amazing work.
Yeah, so Kemi is coming from Nigeria, Africa, and she is going to be talking about how she launched her Femtech company that is highly successful. She has been named one of the top entrepreneurs in Africa, among other awards and accolades. And Kemi, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm so interested to hear about more information about Femtech, how we can use it in our everyday lives, how we can get involved in it if we want to professionally, and how you did it. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Kemi.
Absolutely, thank you. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, then once again, thank you very much, Lisa, for this opportunity. My name is Kemi Olawoye, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Babymigo, Nigeria's fastest growing pregnancy and parenting community. Today, I'm going to be shedding light on what Femtech is, Femtech innovation in women's health, and where exactly we are. I'm also going to be speaking specifically on what you and I can do, regardless of if you're working in Femtech or not, what you can do to advance the cause and just generally make the lives of women easier. So the outline of my discussion is the global Femtech innovation. What are the challenges and growth opportunities? What is next? And I'm also going to speak a bit about Femtech innovation in sub-Saharan Africa, where I come from. A brief introduction and background. What exactly is Femtech? Now, Femtech refers to technology that is specifically created to meet and accommodate the needs of women. And that includes, apps, web platforms, software, wearables, and anything that just allows the lives of women to be better. Now, why Femtech? Because with Femtech, you and I know the impact that technology has had in the world and just, on our lives in general. And so why Femtech? Because women of all backgrounds, regardless of their race, their economic status, can have easy access to services for reproductive health, for their mental health, for general wellness, easier and faster. Now, globally, where are we with Femtech? Femtech it's a relatively underdeveloped area in healthcare. There's still a long way to go. And there's so many issues around women's health that we're yet to explore using technological solutions, even from mental health peculiar to women. I must also say that when it comes to Femtech, just an area has been significantly explored, which is more of period. And we've had quite a number of successful period apps, and technology tools. But what are the key areas? Just to give a brief overview of the different key areas when it comes to women's health and Femtech in general. One, we have sexual health, we have menstrual health, which are the areas that we're very familiar with. But beyond that, we also have reproductive health, family planning. Technology can also help with pregnancy, maternal and child health care. It can also help with pelvic and uterine health, mental health, and then several other conditions such as endometriosis, PCOS, cervical cancer, and so many others. What are the key challenges? Like I said, Femtech is a relatively underdeveloped area. And many people may just be hearing about Femtech or just really be getting better insight about Femtech at this event. But the key challenge is one, funding. According to research and statistics, only 3% of financing for digital health is being allocated to Femtech, despite the promise that this industry shows. In general, several statistics have also shown that women form a larger population of the global population, and there's so much that we can do if we can create technology and leverage technology to make the lives of women easier. But yet, Femtech has received just only 3% of general funding allocated to digital health. The second challenge that we've had is also stigmatization. in Africa, for example, women are still very shy to use their app, use an app that talks about menstruation, or even talk or speak publicly about things around pregnancy, around menstruation. Like, it just feels like it's a taboo. And so there's a lot of stigmatization, misconceptions around women's health. Another key challenge that we've also had is that majority of femtech companies are exclusively focusing on one area, which, like I said, is more of reproductive health, whereas there are so many other areas that we can explore with femtech. Finally, inadequate education and awareness. So people are, thankfully, we've had a lot of companies creating solutions, around femtech, but a lot of women are still unaware about what technology can do to make their lives easier. A woman that has PCOS is not still very familiar or aware of how she can leverage an app, a tool to make her life easier. So there's still so much that we need to do as regards to education and awareness. I'll just speak a little bit about sub-Saharan Africa, where I come from. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's a higher risk of dying from, non-communicable disease, maternal and child health conditions. And so there's several extreme obstacles that exist for African women. It's also important to say that, in sub-Saharan Africa, about 30 to 51% of women give birth before they are 18. And also to mention that, like I said earlier, there are so many taboos with regards to women's health in Africa. Now, what is the way forward? And I feel like, if anyone has not been listening before, this is where you really need to listen and pay attention. What is the way forward? What can you do, regardless of if you're working in the femtech industry, you're just making an attempt to start working in the femtech industry, or you have been actively working in the femtech industry? One is with research and development. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to invest in research and development for these technological tools and solutions to make our lives easier as women. The second thing that we can do is to ensure that women are in positions of power. Women are, at the board level, women are CEOs, women are CFOs, so that when they can make a decision, when you need to make maybe investment decisions, you want to look at diversify your investment portfolio as a company. It's important that women are the key decision makers so that we can invest more in femtech solutions for women, knowing that when the lives of women, when our lives are easier as women, the world is a better place because of the enormous impact and effect that we have on both economic development, social development, and so much more in the world. Another key thing that we need to do is increase awareness and education. Like I said, there are a lot of solutions for women, that would help with their health in general. But are people really aware? Lisa was just sharing with me how that, this is something that she just started to hear about a few years ago. So, and whereas a lot of solutions around femtech has started as far back as 10, 15 years ago. So a lot of work needs to be done to increase awareness and education. And then finally, increase acceptance for you and I, regardless of the industry that you work, to accept and embrace technology for yourself, to accept and embrace technology for your health, to make your life easier. In conclusion, I would say that a woman's body requires female-specific technological solutions because of how we're wired as women, our physiology and our anatomy. It's important that we build technological solutions that are specific to our needs as women. Femtech also needs to improve access to not just education and healthcare related to reproductive and sexual health, but to other sectors of women's health like wellness and like mental health. Finally, like I said earlier, as they always say, power is not given, power is taken. So women like you and I must rise up in the society, either as software developers, as CEOs, regardless of where you work, to ensure that we both, invest, increase awareness, improve education of femtech. For my team and I at Babymigo, we'll continue to do the work. We have done so much since we started. We've impacted over 1 million women and parents across sub-Saharan Africa, and we'll continue to do the work to impact more and more women because we are only just getting started. Thank you so much, Lisa, and to the entire team for the invitation. I'll now take your questions and your comments.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kemi. That was so informative. Can you go to the slide that shows your website, your brand, Babymigo, I think it's called. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes, yes.
So, so just tell us a little bit about the story behind how you started and where it is today, so we can understand what you've actually done with Femtech.
Yes, so I started working as a physiotherapist. I finished from the College of Medicine, University of Lagos, rather, in Nigeria, and I studied physiotherapy. So I was working in the hospital, and while I was working in the hospital, I led the women's health unit, where we would see women with different conditions, as well as pregnant women, come up to our unit for like different things, exercises in pregnancy. And as I started to work in the hospital, I recognized the need for community support. I recognized the lack of expert-led information for women in Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa, lack of access. So there are a lot of myths that, Nigerian women would say when they are pregnant, oh, I cannot eat this. Or if I eat pineapple, it's going to cause a miscarriage. If I take this particular drink, it's going to cause me to lose my baby, and so much more. This was a big issue for me. And then I met my co-founder, who also worked in a primary healthcare center and also experienced similar issues. And so we decided to leverage technology to build a solution. And now today we have become Nigeria's fastest growing pregnancy and parenting community.
Congratulations. That is an amazing story. And yeah, if you want to take it off screen share, we could just chat for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
About, you had mentioned about getting funding and how 3% of tech funding goes to Femtech, which reminds me of the stat that 3% of all funding, investment funding, goes to women or minorities within the women's sector. And so women of color get even less of the funding, of the overall funding, which is like so sad. So it's like, not only does Femtech have this little tiny, percentage, but so do women. So how did you go about raising money and funding your venture, and any tips on how you did it that other women who are looking for investors can get inspiration from?
I would say that we've approached this. We've approached this in a dogged manner. We've had a lot of rejections, but like I always tell the team, we must keep going. We must keep going. We're very thankful that we've had partners and organizations that have believed in us, including Google, including Facebook, and quite a number of notable organizations that have believed in the work that we're doing. But it's not really been an easy journey. I think the key for us has just been we've been resilient, and so for every no that we get, we say, another yes is coming. So we just keep at it. We'll keep at it, and we've just been resilient, and that has been very helpful in giving us, and at least helping us to get to where we are right now.
What are some simple ways? I mean, you mentioned slightly in your presentation, but for women that might want to just access examples of Femtech in their daily life. So for example, on my Fitbit, and I just want to know if you would be considering this Femtech. So on my Fitbit, if I want to, I can manage my cycle. I can, watch for different things. So is that a simple example of Femtech?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the sad reality is that while you are aware that your Fitbit can allow you to do all of these things, many women are actually not aware, which is why I also spoke about increased education and awareness, so that we can know, because you would agree with me that by leveraging that tool on your Fitbit, that has really helped in terms of managing your cycle and things like that. Yeah, so that's just like a simple explanation, on how to leverage Femtech.
Yeah, and I've seen some other brands, at least here in the United States, where you can get, for example, testing done, like blood work or saliva tests, to kind of monitor like where your levels are hormonal wise, and what you might be deficient in. And then they will customize like a blend of combining technology, but also supplements and things like that. So is that something that you would consider under the umbrella of Femtech? It's just take it like from a preventative standpoint.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any form of technology, tools, software, wearables that just makes the lives of women tailored to women, understanding our physiology and anatomy as women, tailored to make our lives easier, definitely can be categorized under Femtech.
Are there any resources that you can recommend that women can learn and follow the femtech industry? And if they wanted to get a job in femtech or change professions, or maybe, look into starting their own femtech business?
Well, I think a simple place to start would even be leveraging like keywords and hashtags on social media platforms like LinkedIn, like Twitter, and just really following conversations. Because I find that, beyond actively reading articles, reading research papers, around a subject area, unconsciously following conversations around a key subject area, like on Twitter, can really be very helpful. I think that's a great place to start from.
Yes, I love that. It's very organic. And Kemi, can I ask you, just in general, your entrepreneurship, starting your own business, being a female founder, for those out there that, maybe just need some leadership advice, or even entrepreneurship advice, what advice would you give for women that are at that point in their careers?
I'd say that as women, there are a lot of challenges that we face that are very peculiar to us. Particularly, because some women will probably get married, have kids and all that kind of stuff. And there's just this impact that can have on your career, on your business. So I'll go back to the first thing that I said, to be resilient and not be discouraged, and to know that, even if your schedule and everything it's a bit different from the men, you can, you just have to be resilient. I'll also say that as a female entrepreneur, it's important that you delegate and get support, because you really cannot do it by yourself. And so I always tell my team that, when we ended the year and we started the new year, I was just telling them at the first meeting that we had for the year that, what we have achieved as a company, we couldn't have done all of those things, with just me. I couldn't have done all of those things. It was as a result of our collective effort as individuals, because I really cannot do everything by myself. So I would encourage any female entrepreneur to get support and to delegate, because you cannot do it alone or by yourself.
Yes, that's so true. And what about any of your favorite business books that you might recommend, or just books in general, or publications that you read? It doesn't have to be about femtech, just for inspiration.
I love the Blue Ocean Strategy book. I absolutely love the book. I love the book because I feel like, regardless of how saturated an industry is, there's always, it just opens up your mind to see that, there's always a way out, and there's always a new niche to carve in a seemingly saturated industry. So the Blue Ocean Strategy book would definitely be my go-to.
Okay, great. Well, Kemi, thank you so much for being a female disruptor and being an amazing example globally for all women, whether it's in femtech or entrepreneurship or leadership, or just, feminism in general. And, our goal is to reverse ageism and abuse of power, and, make our numbers better when it comes to equal pay and closing the gender gap and the founders gap. So hopefully together we can make that happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Lisa, for the opportunity. It was great speaking to you.
And if anybody wants to reach out to you, is LinkedIn the best way?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, Kemi Olawoye, and then LinkedIn is perfect.
Okay, Kemi, thank you so much for being a female disruptor on this day.
All right, bye.